Welcome to the Happy Black Woman Podcast, where we're on a mission to empower women to transform their lives through personal development and entrepreneurship. We bring you all the information, inspiration, and motivation you need to create a life of happiness, success, and freedom. Now, please welcome your host, the happy Black woman herself, Rosetta Thurman.
Welcome back to the Happy Black Woman Podcast. This is Rosetta, and I am back with another incredible guest for you to learn from. Her wisdom knows no bounds. Today, we're talking to Gail Keys Allen, and she has a phenomenal story and a phenomenal business. And before we dive in, I just want to share a little bit about how I know Gail and why you should want to know Gail. I've been working with her for the past couple years as one of my clients, and I've just watched how she has been able to share her wisdom and her support with so many women in our Happy Black Woman tribe. And today is no different. You get a virtual seat into our conversation today, and I know you're going to learn a lot. So welcome, Gail.
Hey, Rosetta. Good to be here.
Good to have you here on our virtual love seat here. And for everybody who doesn't know, you'll be able to read Gail's bio on the site, and you really should read it and check out her website. But for those who are just now hearing about you for the first time, tell us about your mission. Tell us about the work that you do.
My mission, to put it concisely, my mission is to help women heal their lives. And I want to help women to be better wives, mothers, entrepreneurs, employees, sisters, daughters. And I know that's a big shoe to fill, but so many of us are working that we forget about ourselves. My mission is to help women to slow down and make their self-care a priority.
Mm-hmm. And although it's very concise how you shared it, it is a big mission because there's so much involved in that. So specifically, how do you do that? How do you help women make self-care a priority?
Well, the first thing I do is start with their mindset, because I think in a lot of ways we've been brainwashed as women to feel like we should be at the bottom of our to-do list, that everyone else should come first. So the first thing that I do is help women to see things differently and to realize that if they're not happy, nobody else is going to be happy. If they don't feel good, no one else around them is going to feel good. And it's interesting, today I went to see an acupuncturist, and he was saying to me that if your body doesn't feel good, you can't work. You can't do anything. Nothing else is going to feel good. And it's true. And so that's where I start with changing people's mindset and then helping them map out ways to make their body feel better.
Yeah, it's something that we don't often prioritize until it starts hurting. It's like something in my body is hurting and now I have to go do something about it. Right. And it's a totally different mindset to worry about your body first before something happens to it. Because I know I feel like I'm young, I'm going to live forever, and that's not true. Just something I heard recently that I implemented was someone who does a lot of live events. He said, you need to have body work done on you. Like massages. And I'm like, really? I never thought about that. So I started getting massages when I teach, and he's right. It really works. It helps your body feel better. But I never would think to do that proactively. So very important.
I think we take it for granted. And it isn't until most of us find ourselves sick or in some type of challenging situation that all of a sudden then it's a priority. But I want to help people to see that they can be proactive and build it into their everyday life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know because I've known you for a while, I know that you know a little bit about that from personal experiences. So could you tell us what made you decide to start your business? What made you decide that you wanted to help other women in this area?
Yeah, I say that I had to. And I know that it'll make sense to a lot of people. God told me to. And the story behind that is that in many things that happened in my life, I kept getting the message, and I guess I ignored it. But one day I was in the shower, and it was after meditation, because usually I meditate in the morning and then I shower. And when you get in the shower, normally it's pretty quiet. And I just heard a voice say, or in my head say, I've saved your life, and I want you to tell other women how and teach them how to save their own. And it just gives me chills now, even thinking about it, because you know my story, but it's a long story, but to be pretty brief, in 1 year's time, I had 3 major surgeries. The first one, I had to have my thyroid removed because I had a large growth on it. The second one was that I was a personal trainer and I was working out really crazy and ended up herniating a disc in my lower back and could not walk at all. So I had to have back surgery. And a few months later, I ended up with a brain tumor. And I say it like it's no big deal, but it really was a big deal. But I ended up with a brain tumor and had to have the brain tumor removed. And about 9 months later, I ended up getting divorced. So through all of those things, everything that I teach and the things that I practice, I put in place during that time that I was experiencing all those things. And I really feel that if I hadn't been taking care of myself, really I was doing a lot of things before I got sick, but I really had to ramp it up after I got sick and really be more consistent to really stay in my right mind.
I mean, every time I read your bio, and it's funny, I was talking to my boyfriend this morning and I said, yeah, I'm going to interview Gail today. And he said, oh, I know Gail. I said, what do you mean? He said, I read her bio on your website. And it's like, everybody has read your bio, like everybody, because I think people remember it's memorable. So they remember when they read about you because all the things that have happened to you in your life are they're so extreme for the average person that a lot of people wouldn't have been able to bounce back from different things like that. And so a lot of people are like, who is this woman that has not only gone through these things, overcome them, but now has dedicated her life to helping other people who are going through similar situations? It's remarkable, and you know how much I admire you for that and this journey that you're on. And in that journey, like, different women listening are in different stages. Like maybe they have some illness in their body. Maybe they have been going through, some marital issues, or like, I know that there are so many women who are in some stage that you were in your life during that time. If you could identify some specific steps that someone on that path could take to kind of lift themselves up, lift themselves out, to start to get into their right mind, what would some of those specific steps be?
The first thing I would say is that you have to get honest with yourself, because I know a lot of times we already know there's a problem, be it in your body, in your relationships, and a lot of times we gloss over it and think that things are just going to somehow magically change. So the first thing that I would really say is be willing to get honest with yourself and to just get quiet and check in with yourself and ask yourself, what do you need? I sit with myself and put my hand on my heart and to say, Gail, what do you need today? How can I serve you? Because if you don't do that for yourself, no one else is going to do it. And then I would take action on the first thing that comes to your mind. The other thing that I really think helps a lot is to get outside and breathe deeply and walk. It's almost magical to me, walking, and it doesn't matter what temperature it is, what time of the year it is. I think people don't take advantage of it enough. I hear people say, I hate to walk, but if you get out and get quiet and go for a long walk, you will hear messages from yourself, from God, however you view it, that will tell you most things that you need to know. I mean, I think that most of us kind of in some way know what to do, but we don't do it. And so I would say trust yourself, and moving your body is a good way to get those messages, have those messages come to you also.
Well, just on that, I mean, I don't think that many of us make the connection between, taking a walk and, hearing from spirit. I think a lot of people would just think, oh, it's exercise, and I don't like to do that. I'm not a big fan of exercising, but I do see the value in being by myself and sitting with myself or walking with myself. And I don't think that we often make that connection. Like, this is the way for you to get still and get that clarity that you need.
Right.
So how did you come to realize that just that insight, I know it's going to help a lot of people listening.
When I did personal training, I used to run. And so to me, running is like meditation. But when I hurt my back, I couldn't run anymore. And so when I was having challenges in my relationship and things would come up, at the time, I lived near a park that had a big lake.
Mm,
And I really loved the water. And so kind of my escape was to walk.
mm,
And I just found that if I would get out and take a long walk, I would feel so much better and ready to face whatever situation I was in. And
mm,
so I kind of stumbled upon it, I think.
yeah.
But, once I started talking to other people about it, they found the same thing. I mean, it's your blood is flowing, it's a change of environment, it's a change in your energy level, your state of energy in your body. And so I think it shifts things and moves things around to open you up to be clearer.
Yeah, definitely. And so, I just want everyone listening to just take a note. If you don't take anything else from this episode with Gail, is, something you can start doing now is to be with yourself, take a walk. And it's definitely one of those things that you can do even at work. I know a lot of what women tell you is that they're too busy, they have to work, all these things, but we all get a lunch break. I mean, by law, they have to let us out for lunch. And so even just using that time, even if you can't find any time when you go home and you have to deal with, responsibilities at home, you can do it even during the day while you're at work. So you can incorporate this now. So I know that so many of our listeners are curious because I know at our events, people come up to you asking you different things. But, I'm curious if you would be willing to share some of the typical things that you do on a daily basis to take care of yourself and to prioritize your own self-care. I know that a lot of people look at you and we all think that you're much, much younger than you are. And it seems like it's due to a lot of the things that you do. So I'm not sure however much you want to share about your age bracket and different things to inspire our listeners is up to you.
I'm embracing my age. I'll be 60 years young in May.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm on a journey to stay in the best shape possible. And I want to help other people do that too. And what I do, I mean, I could take you through a lot of the things that I do, but I keep it basic. But some people tell me they think it's a lot of work, but I don't think it's a lot of work. But as you know, I still work full time and I do my business as my side hustle, if you want to call it that. I don't, it's part of me and my life. But typically my day starts between 5:15 and 5:30 a.m. The minute my feet touch the ground, I say, thank you, God. Every single day, I thank God for waking me up because I know it didn't have to be that way. And some people didn't wake up today. And so I'm very grateful for that. I take a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes to meditate. I've discovered now I started using sound a lot with bells and bowls. So I use sound a lot in the meditation, and you can find different music on YouTube with bells and meditation with bells and sound. I've really gotten more into yoga lately, and I'm starting to do workouts that are less harsh on my body. So I do stretching when I wake up. I think that the thing that makes me feel good too, I take a shower like most people, but I really focus on using good body products, and I use coconut oil on my skin. I mean, most people, when they meet me and I tell them how old I am, they look at me like I've lost my mind. And the first thing they say is, oh my God, your skin is so beautiful. And I'm like, thank you. And people ask me all the time, what's your magic potion? And what's your secret? But honestly, my secret is to keep it simple. I really don't wear makeup. I don't have anything against it. I just never liked it. I was telling my daughter a story the other day that when I went to my prom, my mother made me wear makeup and I cried. For whatever reason, since I was young, I just never really liked it. So, I put some lip gloss on and keep it moving. But I really think that simple lotions, I lotion my body from head to toe every day. And I specifically massage my feet. It's like intuitive. So that's why I say you have to check with your body. My feet are as soft as my hands. And for my age, people are amazed. I don't even get pedicures. I went for a pedicure and the people at the place were like, there's really nothing for us to do because I take care of them every single day. And I think that's the thing that's important with self-care. It doesn't have to be a big to-do.
Right.
It could be little things that you're consistent about. And I would have to say I've been doing that since I was probably about 11 or 12. I remember starting that habit. So and I usually leave my house around 6:45, work all day. And then what you were saying earlier about walking at lunch, I walk at lunch every single day. I walk whether it's rain or shine, whether it's snow, it doesn't really matter. I have an umbrella I use, whatever. I have a hood on my coat where I bundle up. I walk every single day. And so what I'll do is take maybe 20, 30 minutes to eat and the other half hour to walk. And the only time I don't walk is if it's dangerous conditions, like if it was really bad snow, I don't walk. But other than that, I walk every single day. And so there's really no reason not to. You just have to make it a priority. And then in the evening, after I come home, I left out that I do juice a lot. And I drink a green smoothie, usually either a juice or a green smoothie, at least one a day. And then in my evening routine, I come home and I do some work on the business in the evening, but I also have an evening routine too, because I'm brushing my teeth and getting ready and moisturizing and doing those kind of things. But I settle in, and I did get out of the habit of doing the evening routine, and it really messed up my sleep pattern. So I've kind of gotten back to my routine. Yeah. And that is that I've had to make sleep more of a priority because you do heal. The healing process happens in your sleep. And the less sleep you get, the sicker you become, the more your mind is foggy, you don't have the energy. And so I had to make a priority to get more sleep. So now 9:30, I've set an alarm for my phone to go off at 9:30 that's saying, okay, Gail, it's time to shut everything down and start getting ready for bed. And I do a little bit of stretching in the evening, and I write down what I'm grateful for. If I'm worried about something, and this is something new that I'm actually a yoga instructor, suggested to me, and that is to write down all of the things you're worried about. And wherever you wrote it down, either destroy it or put it in a different room, but don't have it in the same room where you sleep because of the energy. And so I'm working with that. So my day is pretty long, but there's one other thing that I did leave out. My commute is pretty long. It's about an hour to an hour and a half. And so what I do every day is I either listen to a podcast, or I've become really fond of audible.com, and I listen to lots of books on Audible. So I make the best of the time that I'm commuting. And I do listen to inspirational music also during the commute time. So I'm very consistent with that. And I think that it does help your mood a lot.
Wow, I know that everyone listening has probably been taking notes on this because we always get questions whenever we talk about creating a routine, a self-care routine. And, you talked about a morning routine throughout the day and then the evening. So a couple things I wanted to point out for everyone as you're, reading through your notes is a couple things that Gail said I wanted to highlight. Number one is that it is something you have to prioritize, and that no matter how busy you are, she just outlined her long day, her long commute. I know a lot of us can relate to a long commute because a lot of us live in, cities where we have to drive in traffic or, take the train. So even with that, Gail gave you the practical way of creating your self-care routine versus the pie in the sky, if everything was perfect way of doing it. But she gave you what we all can work with right now, even with the responsibilities that we have with work and home. So I love that she did that. And so some of you have been looking for that. So I hope you got what you needed today. The other thing that Gail mentioned a couple of tools or resources that she uses. And I wanted to underscore that and see if Gail can give us some more detail, because I know some of you are thinking, okay, now I want to do my coconut oil rub down. So what kind should I use? Or should it be, the lotion kind or the oil kind? Or what should people use on that?
I suggest they use 100% coconut oil, and I buy organic, and you can get that in a health food store. I have seen that some people have said they can get it in Walmart and places like that, but not a lotion. It's 100% coconut oil, and organic is best. And it's in a jar, and it's a solid, and it's white.
Yeah.
But once you put it in your hand, it melts immediately.
Yeah. So good. So I'm going to check that off, because I have coconut oil, but I usually just use it in my hair. It's like,
head to toe.
Head to toe. I like that. And then another thing you mentioned about your green smoothies. I know some people are like, man, I would love to do that, but I don't have time to juice or smooth. Is there like a very time efficient way that you do it where people can kind of see how it could work?
Well, I have a bullet. You can use any kind of blender, but I would say the most time efficient way to do it would be to prepare everything in the evening. And so you can buy frozen fruit. You can buy vegetables in a bag. I mean, the simplest way to do it would be a cup of water, 2 handfuls of spinach, just say pineapple's really good. So a cup of pineapple and a whole banana. And that's like a really simple green smoothie. So it takes all of, I would say, 5 minutes to make.
Right. And then where can people get the bullet? Target,
Walmart. It's called a NutriBullet.
NutriBullet. Yep.
Right. And it holds 1 serving. And so you can even put a cap on it and take the cup with you. I sometimes put it in a jar and stick it in my bag that I carry to work. The other thing, Rosetta, I bought a blender at work. So for those of you that work somewhere where you have a kitchen, a couple of my coworkers and I bought a blender. We sometimes walk to Whole Foods at lunchtime, buy what we need, come to work early, and make it at work too. I make it work for me.
Yeah, yeah. That is the beauty of what you just shared, is that the benefits, we can see the benefits. I mean, you're living proof of the benefits of doing this in your life. So definitely I wanted to underscore the importance of talking with someone and connecting with someone who walks their talk around self-care, because you do it. And whenever you get off track, you know exactly what to do to get back on track, because it's like, wait a minute, Gail, what do you need? Well, I haven't had my green smoothie today, so I know what I need to do, So even having that routine helps when you get off it, because we all fall off at some point, but knowing what you need, what your body needs to get back on track is just as valuable, because you're not lost. You're never lost. Oh, I just, anybody who has the opportunity to have a chance to talk with you, and because everyone's life is different, everyone's lifestyle is different, and, they may want to talk about different things that they want to incorporate, because the things that you said are things everyone can do, but I can imagine like someone who may have small kids, some other things they may want to add, or someone, in a relationship, and, how do I?
Right. Well, I have experience in all of those areas, because my daughter was born 3 months premature, and I even made her own food organically in the blender. So I've done this for a long time, and I've done it as a single person, as a married person. I've done it with a baby. I've done it with working full time and commuting. So I've found a way to work it around all of those situations.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely, like I said, worth a conversation, so people can get some customized support around this, because I'm loving the routine you outlined so far. And I'm like, if there's a basic routine, this would be it. And then like, depending on what people are wanting to accomplish, you can help them add some different things based on their goals. Well, great. I love those action steps and those things that we can do. And now I want to move into kind of our closing inspiration, because I know we're getting close to our time here today. And so I want to ask, like I ask everyone, you have gone through so many different experiences in your life, and you've picked up so many things along the way that you found have worked for you. Is there a particular book that you have found that just inspires you?
Well, it's funny, because I've listened to all of your podcasts, and I know a lot of people love The Alchemist, which I love that book, and I discovered it several years ago. But recently, I mentioned that I use the Audible app on my phone, and I listen to, it's called Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. And I love that book. And I think that if anybody listened to it, it would be even better because she really shares all the ups and downs of being an introvert, which I definitely consider myself an introvert. She spoke a lot about how to make it work in the world with a lot of noise and how to say yes to things that you might typically say no to, but how it opened up her life. And the other thing that really stood out in my mind about it, as rich and famous as she is, she admitted that when she has to do a speaking event or anything where she's going to be seen, that she feels like pooping in her pants. And they even played a speech that she did, and she even admitted it during the speech. And I thought it was so great that somebody could be so transparent because a lot of times we think to be successful, we have to be out there and outgoing and boisterous, and that's not true. And I really love that about the book. And I like to learn about how other people operate in the world.
Yeah, totally. That's definitely going to go on our Happy Black Woman book list. I know a couple of ladies have mentioned that they're reading it, and I've got to grab it for myself. Year of Yes. I love that title, too, because a lot of what you do, I know, is to help women say yes to themselves and to prioritize themselves, which is new for so many of us, or at least at the level that we're talking about, beyond the mani-pedi.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I love having a personal mantra. Like I choose one every year and I, have different affirmations that I use and share. But for you, is there a personal mantra, a motto, a saying that you live by that you can share with us?
Well, I have one main one and I will have two I want to share. But the first one, if not now, when? I ask myself that all the time, and especially when I'm on the fence about doing things. I just say life is not promised. And if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? Why put it off? A lot of times people say, well, later I'll do it, or when I retire, I'll do it. No, if you don't do it now, tomorrow isn't promised. And then the other one is if it doesn't nourish your soul, get rid of it. And I really believe that if things aren't working for you, you got to change them. You got to take responsibility for your own life. And if it's not feeding your soul, then you need to flip things around and do something different.
Beautiful. I love both of those. Both of those are great mantras to live by. You've given us so much in this interview, and there's so much more I know we could talk about. But I know that so many of the ladies listening, they are not just mothers and wives and daughters and sisters and all that, but they're also entrepreneurs. And, you're on this path too of building your business. So what's the number one tip that you would give to women who are thinking about starting a business doing what they love?
I would say that tune out the voices of everyone else around you, the naysayers. If it's something that you're clear about, that you really love, not something that somebody told you should work or you could make a lot of money doing, or somebody said it was great, but because you truly, truly love it, I would say tune out the other voices and stay on the path and keep following the path. And even when it gets challenging, just keep stepping back on the path.
That's great advice and totally jives with what you said about, if it doesn't nourish your soul, because I know that when you're just starting out, you are looking for advice. You are looking for people to support you, and you may not feel confident in what you want to do. But those I call those kind of gut checks, like checking in with your gut and saying, does this nourish my soul? And, I want to make money, but I want to do something I love. If not, then I might as well just work a job. So I love that tip. And I know that so many people are going to want to know more about you and get in touch with you. So how can the ladies listening stay in touch with you and keep learning from you, Gail?
Well, the best way to get in touch with me is through my website, and I have a free gift for everyone. If you go to 21, and that's the number 2 and 1, 21day selfcarechallenge.com.
Great. So when they go to 21day selfcarechallenge.com, what do they do when they get there? And then what do they get?
They'll put their name and their email address, and they will get from me 21 days of self-care tips and tools to use on their self-care journey.
Wonderful. So I know that a ton of people have already downloaded this. I mean, some of you listening may already have it, but how many women have signed up for this challenge so far since you started it?
So far, about 4,500.
Yeah, 4,500 ladies cannot be wrong.
Right.
So you're going to want to get your hands on Gail's 21-day self-care challenge. It really is something that is very valuable that you should charge money for. But right now it's still free and you can get it while the getting is good. So can't say that'll be the case if you're listening to this podcast some months from now. But if you go there today, you'll be able to grab it and get 21 days of Gail's wisdom, her tips, like some of the ones that she's been sharing here today. And you can continue the relationship. And, you know, I have to say that I love all my clients, but I've just known Gail for a little longer than many of my clients. And definitely, she's someone that you want to get to know. She's someone that continues to provide value over time through her blog and her courses that she gives. So she's definitely someone you want to get in contact with. I love this woman and I know you're going to love her too. So 21day selfcarechallenge.com and stay in touch with Gail. So wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time to share with everyone. Wow.
Thank you, Rosetta.
I appreciate you coming on and taking the time to do this. So thank you, Gail. And for those of you who have not gone back and listened to our other podcast episodes, there's more where this came from. And all you have to do is go back to our previous episodes, listen to them, download them, take notes, and get all the value you can from our Happy Black Woman tribe. Until next time, this is Rosetta, and you can find us at happyblackwoman.com. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on the Happy Black Woman podcast. If you want all the show's notes from today's episode, go to happyblackwomanpodcast.com. Plus, we'll send you a copy of Rosetta's free life mapping workbook. We look forward to empowering you next time. And until then, do something this week that makes you happy.